Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is you're coming from. Thank you so much for joining. So excited today to be here with the Instagram channel Raw Vegan Romance. So thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'm just going to give you a couple minutes or whatever to introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Kaylee of T&K from Raw Vegan Romance.
And I'm Tiara.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome. This is really exciting to be here with you. The journey of how I found you was actually through Only Human. I started following them. I started working with Shep over there and doing a lot of conversation. And then I started just checking out, who were they following? Who were they talking to? And I came across Raw Vegan Romance and I started scrolling through your page. Love your Instagram channel. I'm going to put all kinds of links and stuff below to, get to all of that. But really great Instagram channel. And I just kind of wanted to jump right in and start off with, your channel. If you want to talk a little bit about that, why you decided to make an Instagram channel.
Yeah. So we really, you mentioned our partnership with Only Human. So, a lot of the things that they stand for, we also kind of share that passion. So that passion for rights in all different forms, whether it's rights for LGBTQ in the community, rights for minorities, indigenous peoples, for animals especially. So we're vegan, and really just standing up for rights and representing as well love, and the fact that it takes many different forms.
Yeah.
I love that. That's phenomenal. You touch on a lot of the things that I like to talk about on my channel, which is, I don't have a singular focus on my channel. I like to talk about anything and everything because that's, things affect each individual person differently. What affects one person or what one person spends a lot of time thinking about, doesn't relate to another person. So that's kind of what I do with mine, which is definitely why I was interested in working with you too. So once again, thank you so much for reaching out. But I always feel like you can't really talk about a channel and get to know a channel until you talk about the humans behind the channel. So if you don't mind, give us the meet story. How did you two meet and get on the path that you're on now?
I would say it's a pretty typical millennial story. So she was on TikTok. I was on TikTok. She was scrolling her For You page and then she saw one of my videos. And so she pretty much just slid into my DMs and was like, hey, I really like your undercut. It looks great. And then we haven't stopped talking since.
And how long ago was that?
End of January. Yeah.
Okay. I love that you both are like getting in sync with each other, like talking. It's our classic tale story of our generation now, right? It's like what used to be like, oh, I met them at a bar is now like I met them on TikTok. So that's like the normal thing now, right?
Yeah, it's hard to come by, I feel like, too, people organically meeting in person, and then you add on the pandemic, and it's like, online taking big precedence.
So let's talk about that. I was interested in that as well. The pandemic, how has it affected both of you? You met kind of during a pandemic. So what was that like beginning the process of that? And was there like uneasiness or worries, or were you like, no, this is something that could be really cool and something that'll make things go by better and faster and whatever? So how was your kind of approach to that?
Well, I think at first neither of us were really looking to meet somebody else. We had just both gotten out of a relationship. We were both looking to be just kind of single and focus on ourselves for a while. But then we just kind of started talking, like texting and...
Yeah, so and the pandemic certainly factors into this, but I think, like she said, we were both ready to stay single for a while, wanted to make sure if we ever entered into another partnership that it's a healthy partnership. And so during this time where the world is anything but not chaotic, right? We wanted to make sure like that the person that we were talking to, that we were able to form healthy bonds with, and because we spoke to each other and really we kind of surpassed those surface level conversations.
Yeah, I knew before I knew her middle name, I knew like trauma things that she's like healing from, and so we just dove super quick like into those like deep things before we hit anything like favorite color, middle name.
So with that kind of inherently comes, okay, I've got to meet you, right? So we kind of didn't really hesitate with that. And yeah, we just kind of like went full force. It all started on TikTok, went to a painting class, and then all of a sudden, now, as far as how the pandemic influenced a lot of that, I mean, we've got we were socially distant. We had masks and all that kind of stuff.
For
So
sure.
it does certainly influence things, seeing like half of their
Yeah.
face, in person. It's kind of strange. Yeah.
She has
it's kinda
beautiful
strange. It's kind of strange, but once you adjust, I don't know. I guess we don't know anything else other than being in the pandemic. But we're on our way out. So.
Yeah. You touched on something really interesting I wanted to talk about. So I did see your YouTube channel. I watched your video, your part 1 video. Looking forward to part 2 if that's going to come out. I would love that. But I saw that video and you touched on a couple really interesting things that I liked, and you just spoke about that a little bit. So I want to get back to that, which is, you said that you knew about these really kind of intense, deep, personal things before you knew what the favorite color was and things like that. And I love that you touch on, it seems like you both personally feel like, that you've been able to express those things very quickly. You've been able to be open very, very quickly with each other. What kind of started that? Is that something that's always been in both of you, or was this a new thing? Like, what kind of was the evolution of being so open, so deep, so quick with somebody?
Yeah.
I would say it's kind of both. Like, it's something we've always had inside of us and something we've always wanted in like a partner, but it's nothing we ever had until we
have
found each other.
both been in very unhealthy. So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but the idea of healthy love existing. And so being that we have not really seen that epitomized, speaking to one another about some things, so like our trauma and other things, speaking about those things with one another and kind of realizing that we handle certain things the same way, communication being such a huge part of like a foundation of our relationship. I think we just kind of were like, listen, like, we're not going to like dilly-dally, so to speak. We don't want to waste our time, right? Like, I'm heading toward 30 and she's 30, and so like, I mean,
35. I don't want to hear it.
So neither one of us really wanted to just kind of like sit on our hands and like wait for stuff. And it's also like, we're not the type of people that are interested in just sitting and having a surface level conversation of what's your favorite color and what's the day like today. We're really digging in. Like at one point we literally sat down, and actually we were talking about this yesterday to make another YouTube video. But we literally sat down and wrote out like shadow work, which is kind of like in the spiritual world, talking about, what are the things that plague you? And every day we would check in with each other and we would answer the same question. And it's not, flowery stuff.
No.
You know, it's like, what are the words you wouldn't want to describe you? And it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's
Or
not,
like,
nobody wants to talk about that.
yeah, or it's like, what are you disappointed at from your childhood? And just super deep things like that.
So I think we just weren't afraid to dive in because I think we have seen the bad side of things. Let's see if we can get a taste of the good and then nurture it. So yeah, I think we were just ready to find something different than what
We've
we
been used
found.
to.
Yeah.
Inspirational words. You're speaking my language, both of you. That's exactly how I am. My wife and I, we always talk about how quickly we dove into really getting to know each other. It was so fast, and I never experienced anything like that before. And that's when I was like, okay, this is different. We're not just talking about like, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream, which is chocolate for her, by the way. But, we were talking about, things that have hurt us in the past and things that we hope for in the future and things that we're not going to do again, and lessons that we've learned from life, and what are our worries and fears and hopes and dreams. And it was like, wow, this is crazy. We're on date like 2 and we're getting into all of this. And I feel like that's how right? Like you're like, okay, I'm connected. They're not running the other way. So I'm doing something right here, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And we were the same way on date 2. We played a game, and
We're Not Really Strangers.
it's I mean, it's
Not
like
sponsored.
not sponsored, but
But could be, right, in the future.
Hey, if you guys
Yeah.
well, we played that game, and it was a series of questions, and it was just like the shadow work, except for just like stuff you can't predict that you'd be asked.
There's 3 levels too. So like level 1 is like, I don't want to say surface level because it's still kind of deep.
Yeah.
But then it progresses to level 2, which is more like intimate, more deep questions. And level 3 is like things similar to shadow work. Like, tell me about your past. Why are you the way that you are? Like, how did you become this way? What caused it?
Yep. So second date, it was like going on in. And then at the end, we had to write a note to each other, and we couldn't read it until we were away from one another. So we did it. And, anyways, so yeah.
Well, clearly something is working because you two are here now, right? So clearly something is working.
Yeah. But
I have to say, I love your actual individual posts on Instagram. I feel like the pictures really kind of ride this line between being thoughtful, but also a lot of times just kind of looking off the cuff and goofy, and like you're having fun, or they look really loving and sweet. Like you kind of ride that line really nicely. So what kind of thought goes into the posts that you make? Is it more just like, let's show the world like our personal selves and who we are? Or is it more like, okay, let's work to kind of build this brand and who we are and connect with other people that identify with us and things like that?
Yeah, I honestly think it's kind of a mixture of several of those things. I mean, in the mornings we'll figure out what are we posting, an everyday thing. And then a lot of times, like sometimes it'll be like, hey babe, you want to write the post? And then other times it will. And for me, like I love to write. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
Okay.
So writing is kind of like, I have this paintbrush and I'd like to just put it out there and create this work of art on canvas, where she's the actual artist. She does the actual painting.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of a mixture of both. It's like, let's build this brand and show people like this is who we are. And there's so many more dimensions we have yet to reveal that we're really excited about. But it's also kind of like, sure, wanting to be poetic, wanting to show people the beauty of love without bounds. So yeah, it's kind of a mixture of both, you can say.
And then I feel like, because I don't think we wanted to start like with all these facets of who we are right away, just because I feel like that might turn people off, just because like, we're vegans, which not everybody aligns with, or
I am not vegan, but I get it.
Wow. Yeah.
And we're very spiritual, which is another avenue we thought about going, or like tattoos or yoga. I feel like we have a lot of dimensions that we've thought about going into.
I'm with you with the tattoos.
Oh yeah. I've got my sleeve I'm working on, and then she's gonna get hers done on Tuesday. So
yay, awesome. I have 11. So I have 11 right now. I'm working on 12. Secret, that's going to come out in a future video, but
there we go.
It's very addicting. It
really is. Yeah, I mean, it never feels good, I'll be honest.
No,
it never feels good. But
I got one recently on my ankle, and I was like, this is a terrible idea. Why am I doing it? But it looks awesome, so I really like it.
Exactly. Totally.
So I also wanted to ask, in regards to your channel specifically, what are the best things that have come from creating, this Instagram account and kind of going on this social media journey together rather than kind of doing your separate things? Like, what are the really good things that have come from it for both of you?
I think for me, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think just some of the people we've met, whether that's through like connections like with you, or like just people come to our page like, oh, we're a vegan and we're a lesbian couple too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Making connections with these other couples from all over the country, which has been incredible.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a chance to travel or anything like that, just with the pandemic and whatnot. And so with that said, we have met so many other people, even people who are not lesbians, but I mean, but it's cool to be, so we are in the Midwest, so it's a little bit harder to come by to see as many like lesbian, let alone like interracial couples. And so to be able to have that and to see other people that are like us on the internet, and connect with them and have them comment on our posts or whatever, it's really cool to interact with them. But also kind of linking back to the travel piece, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to, once we can travel, go see our friends we met in Florida, go see our, stuff like that. So I think that's probably been one of the most rewarding things. And then also just, I mean, so some of the accounts that we've been featured on, just seeing who else that they post is kind of nice, just to get exposure to. I mean, there's a couple that we talked to that they live in like Milan, and it's super cool.
That's cool.
They live. What's the pandemic like there?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just the people, honestly.
Yeah, very much like just a global connection.